Soul Simmers, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today, I'm gonna talk to you guys about keyboard shortcuts, and I know that doesn't sound like the most sexy topic, but trust me if I tell you that knowing your keyboard shortcuts in The Sims is going to ease up the way that you play the game so incredibly much. You're going to be able to navigate the game a lot faster, either in build mode, either in gameplay mode, or just in general. And I use these keyboard shortcuts every single time I play The Sims. I can legit not play the game without them. And also, this video comes with a completely free little cheat sheet that I made for you guys. So if you watch this video and you feel like, how am I ever going to remember all of these shortcuts? I actually made the little cheat sheet. I'll put a download link to it in the description box down below to like a high quality image that you can download and that you can keep open and that you can look at for future reference. I also made sure to make the cheat sheet and this video completely categorized, so we're going to cover general keyboard shortcuts, build by keyboard shortcuts, and gameplay keyboard shortcuts. So actually, without further ado, let's just get right into it, and I'm gonna show you all of the shortcuts right in game. Okay, like I said, we're gonna do this categorized so it's easier for you guys to follow. So I'm gonna start off with the general keyboard shortcuts. And the reason I'm called them general is because they both work in build by and in gameplay. So it doesn't really matter which mode of the game you're playing in. These ones will work at all times. The first one is your escape key. If you press escape, it will automatically open your main menu. This is a great way to, instead of having to navigate all the way up top here, you can just press escape on your keyboard at any given time to open the menu. The next one is that if you press tab, you will actually go into free cam mode. This used to be a gameplay only feature, but they actually recently with the Horse Ranch expansion pack added this feature to build by as well. If you want a full video on how to control your camera, I've linked a video down below of my Builder's Bootcamp where I fully walk you through all the camera controls. So basically anything I mentioned in this video related to camera controls, if it goes too fast and you feel like you cannot really follow, feel free to check out that tutorial because I go into much more depth in that video. The next one is when you're in build mode or whether you're in gameplay mode, you can use the W, A, S, and D keys to move your camera around. For those of you that play other games like The Sims, the W, A, S, D keys are actually very widely used to control basically what your camera is looking at or what your character is moving towards. So these keys should not come as a surprise. However, for The Sims, you can also control the camera with the arrow keys on your keyboard. So you can decide whether you want to do that with the WASD keys or with the arrow keys on the keyboard. If you're using the free cam mode, you can also use these to control the camera. You can also use the Q and the E to actually move your camera up and down. So this is an additional one to the camera controls. WASD or the arrow keys will control your camera movement, and Q and E will actually control the camera height. And if you want to move around, you can also just use your mouse to kind of just go around. But since this is a keyboard shortcut video, the mouse part doesn't really fit in, but I wanted to mention it anyways. Again, if you want to know more about camera controls, feel free to check out the video link down below. Then another one, whether you're in build by mode or in gameplay mode, is actually putting the walls up and down or actually moving to the floor above or below. So if you use the home key, you put the walls up, and if you use the end key, you put the walls down. This goes in increments, so if you press the end key twice, they will go fully down. If you press the home key twice, they will go fully up. So instead of having to navigate up here and clicking until you get the right height, you can just use your end and your home key to maybe switch between walls fully down and walls fully up. If you want to switch floors, you can use the page up and page down button. So if you press page down, you will go down a floor. If you go page up, you will go page up a floor. This is great for when you're building or gameplaying and you easily want to swap between the floors that you're working on. It again saves you time of having to navigate your mouse to all the way at the top. And also, if you're building and you want to copy an item to another floor, you can actually copy it, and while holding the item, you can do page up and paste it on the floor above. So this is a feature that I as a builder really like to use to kind of speed up my building process, because it just makes it easier to copy things from a lower floor to an upper floor or the other way around. Then another one that is about controlling your camera is you can use the Z button to zoom in and you can use the X button to zoom out. This works both in gameplay and in build by mode, so it's a really great way to kind of, again, position your camera. Then if you press the C button, it will actually take a screenshot. I personally don't use this that often because I don't really like the in-game screenshot feature, but if that's something that you like, you can actually take an in-game screenshot by pressing C. If you want to take an in-game video, you can actually press V, and as you can see, a yellow border will appear right around my camera. If you want to stop recording the video, you can press V again, and it will show you up here where it will have saved the video. Also, that covers the section about general keyboard shortcuts. Let's actually move into the gameplay keyboard shortcuts. For the gameplay ones, we're going to start off with controlling the game speeds, and there's a couple of different keyboard shortcuts that you can use to control the game speed, and it just depends on whichever you prefer the most. So the first one is that you can use the tilde key to kind of swap between pause and play. If you want to set the game speed, you can either press 1 to also basically press play. So if you pause your game with the tilde, you can also press 1 to start the game again. If you press 2, it will automatically go to 2 speed, and if you press 3, it will automatically go to 3 speed. You can also press the P button to pause your game and unpause your game. I do not know why, but this is my personal favorite. Even though I control the game speeds with 1, 2, and 3, for some reason, when I want to pause the game, it feels very natural to press P on my keyboard rather than the tilde key. This is just a personal favorite. You can totally pick whichever fits you because both of them work. If you have a numpad on your keyboard, you can actually use the 1, 2, 3, and 0 key on your numpad as well to change the game speeds or to pause your game. And you can even use the 0 key on your numpad to also, so like the numerical row that is on top of your keyboard, you can use the 0 key as well. So you can use the 0, the P, the tilde, all to kind of toggle between pause and play. And it's just your personal preference which of those you will pick. If you want to bring up the relationship panel, you can actually press R on your keyboard and it will automatically bring up the relationship panel for the active sim. If you press Y, it will automatically bring up their Simology panel. So basically all the information about their milestones, their traits, all of those things, their likes, dislikes, their character values, basically anything that you can know about your sim will show up when you press Y. If you press I, you will automatically go to your sim's inventory. So if that's something that you're looking for, the active sim, again, if you press Y, it will go to their inventory. And if you press the button again, also that goes for all of them, it will automatically close the panel. If you press O, it will automatically go to their needs tab. I still cannot figure out for the life of me why O is the one for needs. If you press G, it will go to their aspiration tab. So if you want to see their aspiration and how they're doing, and if you want to go to the reward store for their aspiration points, you can press G on your keyboard. And again, pressing it again will close the tab. If you press J, it will go to their career tab, or in case of children, it will go to their school tab. And if you press L, it will go to their skills. Also, if you quickly want to swap between the active sim, so if you're checking everyone's needs, you can actually use the space bar, and then you can press O and you can use the space bar to just kind of scroll through your sims and see how all of them are doing. I feel like this is much faster again than navigating down here and clicking through all of your sims. Just pressing the space bar is really, really helpful. If you press the space bar and you see something that your sim is doing and you're actually wondering what's going on, you can actually use the enter button to center on the sim. So let's say we're all the way over here and we press enter, it will automatically bring us to wherever Bella in this case is hanging out. If you use the comma or the period key, you can actually rotate your camera as well. Again, this is part of my camera controls video too, so if that's something that you're interested in, but I use these two all the time. I'm a person that really, really hates navigating, especially the rotation of the camera with my mouse, because I feel like my hand gets really cramped if I have to control the angle and the rotation of the camera with my mouse. So I very much prefer to do this with my keyboard, even in building, even in gameplay. I use the comma and the period key to control my camera rotation. And then lastly, if you want to swap between your active household and the map view, you can actually press M on your keyboard and it will automatically bring you to manage worlds. This is a little bit annoying when you accidentally click it, but it allows you to travel with your active household. So it doesn't really bring you to manage world, but it kind of brings you to the tab where you can travel with your household. This is a really quick way. Instead of going to your phone and saying travel, you can just press M on your keyboard and then select any lot that you want to go to. And once you click it and you say travel, it will still ask you which sims you want to travel with. So it's not like you will automatically travel with the entire household or the active sim. So I personally always press M instead of going to their phone and saying travel. Now that we've covered all the gameplay keyboard shortcuts, let's actually move on to the build by keyboard shortcuts. And the first one I'm going to start off with, for the simple reason that I've been annoyed with this the entire video and the entire time that I've been recording, I'm gonna change the time of day so that my game is actually a little bit lighter and brighter. You can do that by pressing L on your keyboard. L allows you to shuffle through the times of day. So L stands for light. I think that's the way that I can remember it. So now that we've covered that first one, I'm actually gonna do it the way that I did it before, and it's kind of go row by row on the keyboard. So we're gonna start with the F keys. F1 will bring you to a live mode. So basically it swaps back to live mode when you have build mode selected through an active family. This actually doesn't work if you're in infinite build mode. So if you're like in free build mode, when you press F1, it will bring you to the manage worlds view where you can actually start playing with a family. So depending on how you enter build mode, it will either bring you to the map view to start playing with a family, or it will bring you back to the family that you were originally playing with. If you are in live mode and you want to go to build mode, you can actually press F2 as well. So F1 and F2 kind of toggle between live and build mode. The reason I place these in the build mode category is because I feel like they're specifically relevant for wanting to go into build mode. However, these do work if you're in gameplay as well, so they're kind of generic too, but I've only ever used them if I wanted to toggle between live mode and build mode because I wanted to adjust something in the house. When I'm in free build mode, I very rarely use these keys to go back to the map view. Also, if you're in build mode and you press F2, you go to buy mode, and if you go to F3, you automatically go to build mode, so you can actually toggle between the two using F2 and F3 as well. So if you're on an active household, you can actually go F1 to go into live mode, F2 to go into buy mode, and F3 to go into build mode. If you're on gameplay mode and you press F3, it also automatically goes into build mode. So depending on whichever mode you want to play the game on, F1, F2, and F3 are the keys for you. I quickly turned on the grid and I'm gonna grab an item so I can show you properly, but normally if you place something, you can place something on half tiles, right? So without holding any alt keys or cheating anything, you can place something on half tiles. If you press F5 on your keyboard, it will actually let you place on quarter tiles. So if you want to do more precise placement without holding the alt key, without having BB move objects or anything enabled, you can actually press F5 on your keyboard and it will allow you to place on quarter tiles. Then if you are building and you use the 9 and the 0 key, you can actually raise things up and lower things down. So raising things up is the 9 key, lowering things down is the 0 key. If you've ever seen someone clutter without actually placing something on the shelf or placing something on a table, and they kind of raise it up and then they place it on the table themselves, this is how they do that. They raise items with 9 and they lower items with 0. If you place something and you want to copy it, you can actually use the E key on your keyboard to turn on the eyedropper tool and then copy and paste it. So instead of navigating up here, you can actually press E and then you can click and copy and paste it. If you press R, you actually get the design tool is what it's called, and that allows you to change the swatch of a certain item. So by pressing R, you can change the swatches. And then if you want to go back to just your regular hand tool, you can actually press the H on your keyboards to go back to the little hand tool up here. Also, if you're ever frustrated with the grid and you don't want to see it because it's kind of in the way of what you're trying to build, or just in general, if you don't need the grid to build, you can actually press G on your keyboard to toggle on and off the grid. If you want to view your build from the top, you can also do that by going here and then clicking on this one. However, I always find that navigating there takes far too long, so I just press T on my keyboard. If you press T again, it will automatically swap back to the original view. So basically, this is a great way for you to quickly toggle between what you can see from above and what you can see from a normal camera angle. If you're on a lot and you want to move the entire build, you can press Y on your keyboard and it automatically opens the mode where you can move the entire build. So if you start building something and you want to move the part of the build that you've already done, maybe to center it more on the lot, you can press Y and then you can move the entire build. If you want to move just the house, you can press U and then you can click it and you can move it around as well. Keep in mind, all the other things like fences and stuff won't move with it, and they will kind of just get deleted if you move the house over. So you can either move the house or a singular building by pressing U, or you can move the entire lot by pressing Y. You can actually use the square bracket keys to size things down or to size things up. So if you feel like a rug is too small, you can size it up, or if you feel like a rug is too big, you can size it down as well. This is a great way to influence the size of things without using a mod-like tool. So again, square brackets, the one right next to your P key, will allow you to make things bigger and smaller. If you are using the wall tool, you can actually hold Control to delete a wall. So instead of having to go into the sledgehammer and then clicking to delete, you can actually hold Control and then go like this. Also, there is a keyboard shortcut for the sledgehammer as well. That's the K key. So if you press K, it will automatically allow you to go into the sledgehammer tool. If you're placing an item and you actually hold Shift while you play, it automatically copies it. So if you want to play multiple of something, you can hold Shift and you can just continue to do this. Once you want to place your last item, just let go of Shift and then place the last item and that will be it. If you want to place an item and you use Alt and you just have to hold it, so click it and hold it, you can actually free place. As you can see, it no longer snaps to the grid. So if this is something you want to do, also if you have BB move objects enabled, that is a cheat. So if you don't want to cheat, this is not going to work, but you will actually be able to place it really close, actually inside of other objects. If you don't want to have BB move objects enabled, you can still use the Alt key to free place your items. If you quickly want to access the wall tool because you want to draw an internal wall or anything, you can press B on your keyboard and it will automatically bring up the wall tool. Like I said, you can use the comma and the period key to rotate your camera. This also works in build mode. However, as soon as you're holding an object, it will actually allow you to rotate the object quickly. So pressing period and comma will allow you to rotate the object. Again, if this is not precise enough for you, you can swap to the Sims 3 camera. Then you can hold the item, hold Alt, and then drag your mouse to do more precise rotation. However, I know that for a lot of people, this rotation is already enough when you just start building. So again, period and comma key to rotate your items. If you're using wall paint, you can either hold Shift to paint the entire room, or you can hold Alt to paint a single wall. If you want to put flooring in an entire room at the same time, you can actually hold Shift, just go over one tile, press Shift, and then it will automatically fill that entire room. If you're placing terrain paint and you realize that that's not what you want, you can actually hold Control, and that will allow you to automatically go into the eraser tool, and that will allow you to erase your terrain paint really easily. When you're building in The Sims, you can also use the backspace key to move something into their household inventory, or you can use the delete key to delete something completely. So if you want to get rid of an item in an active room, you could actually either use backspace to move it to their household inventory. This only works if you're playing with an active family and you go to build by mode through the active family. It doesn't work if you're in complete free build mode. But if you click it and you do delete, then it does actually work to delete an item on either mode. Lastly, if you have a numpad on your keyboard, you can use the plus and minus key to scroll through swatches when you want to place an item. So I place the fridge, and before I actually click to place it, I can use the plus and the minus to quickly scroll through the swatches. I've actually made an entire video on how to do this if you do not have a numpad on your keyboard, because as you can see, I don't have a numpad on my keyboard and I can still do this. It is a very, very easy, completely free workaround of using buttons on your mouse. So I will make sure to link that video in the description box down below. So if you want to be able to scroll through swatches without having a numpad on your keyboard, then you can follow that tutorial. If you actually do have a numpad, you can use the plus and minus key to scroll through swatches before placing an item. Also, when you grab an item and you don't want to place it, you realize that that's not the item that you want to place, you can either press cancel here or you can press escape as a keyboard shortcut to let go of that item so you can pick a new one. Lastly, I have a couple of keyboard combinations, so you have to press multiple keys at once to do a certain action. Some of them are gameplay related, some of them are generic, so I'm going to show them to you guys. I'm going to walk you guys through. So the first one is if you're in gameplay mode and you're actually, again, the camera is away from your lot, you can actually press Shift Enter and it will automatically center on your current lot. So if you're following a sim or if you're looking at something else in the neighborhood and you would quickly want to go back to your own house, you can just press Shift Enter to center on your active lot. The second one is if you want to add, I know this is one that has been shared many a times, but if you press Control Shift C, you can actually see a little white bar pop up. That's where you can enter all of your cheats for this game. For instance, the bb.move objects cheat that I showed earlier, where you're allowed to place items really close or literally inside of each other. Then if you're in build mode, you can actually use features like Control Z and Control Y to undo and redo actions. So if I could do Control Z, it will go back to the wooden floor. If I do Control Y, it goes back to the tile floor. So again, you can also use Control Z to go further back if you've done multiple actions. In this case, I just did one thing. But if you have placed a couple of things and you want to go back, you can actually press Control Z multiple times. You can also press Control Y multiple times to go forward in your actions. Also, if you're like me, and I know that this is something that not a lot of people do, but if you're a person who tends to switch between the Sims 4 and the Sims 3 camera, I specifically do this for building. I prefer to play on the Sims 4 camera, but if I'm building, I sometimes need the Sims 3 camera to be able to freely rotate objects and stuff. So I toggle between the two. There's actually a keyboard shortcut for that too. If you're on the Sims 4 camera, you can actually press Control Shift Tab to quickly toggle between the two camera modes. I personally have a Stream Deck, so I have a button on my Stream Deck setup, so I don't have to memorize this keyboard shortcut and press 3 keys at the same time. So I just have a shortcut on my Stream Deck that allows me to toggle between the two cameras. For me, this is quicker. That's very specific for if you're a content creator, but I just wanted to put the tip out there. I have it set up as a keyboard shortcut on my Stream Deck because I feel like that's easier than pressing 3 keys at the same time. Also, if you're in build mode and you press Control F, you can actually, again, place on those quarter tiles. So the thing that you can do when you press F5, but another thing is if you have a floor tile and you press Control F, it actually allows you to place quarter tiles as well. So Control F works on either placing on quarter tiles with the F5 tap, but it also allows you to kind of place these cute things so you can make your own pattern if you wanted to. You could get kind of wild with this. The last one is specific to build mode as well. If you click on a roof, you can actually see these little spheres that allow you to control the roof more detailedly. If you select a roof and you then click Shift C, As you can see, you get more controls. You can literally more precisely change the roof. And if you want to get rid of that, you press just Shift C again and it will get rid of it. If you press C again, you will get literally 2 extra spheres to control the shape of your roof. So if you ever want to do a very detailed build or very detailed roofing, this is going to be your best friend. That was it for the keyboard shortcut video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope it was helpful. Let me know in the comments down below which one was the biggest surprise to you, but also if there is one that you completely missed that you always use, that you want to teach me, because personally, I've done my best to find every keyboard shortcut there is, but there are so many in this game and there's not really good documentation of it. So if there's any keyboard shortcut I missed that you want to share with me in the community, feel free to drop it in the comments down below. And if you have neither of those things, just drop your favorite emoji in the comment because it really helps with engagement and that helps this video get to more people, hopefully teaching more people about keyboard shortcuts in The Sims. And again, the cheat sheet is in the description box down below completely for free, together with my video on how to control swatches with your mouse and how to navigate The Sims camera modes. And also, if you're moving down to the comments, don't forget to toss this video a cheeky like because it does really help. And if you want to see more videos like this or any of the other videos that I've done on my channel about The Sims, feel free to hit that subscribe button and notification bell. And with all of that being said, thank you so much for watching and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye everyone!